Hello and welcome back everyone. I know some of you have been waiting for this video. Um, we'll be making hair wefts. This is honestly my first time ever making one, and this is the same one that I made and the only one I've ever made. Um, it's super fast and very simple. So let's jump in and let's get started. Alright, now the first step is to grab a piece of paper and fold it down hot dog style, I believe, lengthwise. Now, I didn't do this, but I recommend you draw a line across down that fold mark so while you're sewing, you can see the line and it's easier to guide you. I didn't do that and I did struggle a bit, but it wasn't, like undoable, but it would have really helped. So after that, spread out your hair down that fold line across the paper and add some removable tape. Now prepare your machine by doing a straight stitch but making your stitch length as short as possible. Alright, now all we have to do is sew down that fold line, and like I said, I recommend you mark it with the pen. Makes it a lot easier to sew, but it's fine. I still managed to pull through, and as you can see it's right there, and remove your tape. I recommend you remove it because the next step we're going to be stitching both sides of these stitch lengths. I just hit my elbow, so that's what that was. So you don't want the tape there. I didn't. So now all you have to do is make a zigzag stitch as wide as you can, as well as small the stitch length. So make the stitch length super small, as you can see the little picture. That's how it's gonna look on the left of the screen, and make it pretty wide. So, and you stitch this stitch on you sew this zigzag stitch on both sides of the first straight stitch we made. So this is the first side. I'm doing it on the left. You can see it's coming out the other side of the machine. Okay, so at this point I realized that the end of the weft kind of bunched up on the back. So it was just kind of messy and it wouldn't have looked nice, and hair went through and got looped up and bunched up, and it was just messy. So I wasn't gonna use it, so that was me just fixing that. Since that bunched up part of the weft was a little far off and kind of messed up the the hair, it was easy to cut off and it didn't really affect the rest of the weft. It didn't loosen up the ends or anything, so it was fine. So I removed that and sewed the other side of the zigzag, but since I didn't do the marking, it kind of like ended up going towards the middle every time. So I did this a few more times and went ahead and did that just to secure the weft, because after this we're going to fold it over in half and stitch over that fold and secure it, and that's what's going to make our weft. And I'm sorry if you hear my dog in the back. He wants more treats, but he already had 3. This part is optional. I decided to go ahead and rip the paper out, but it didn't really help as much as I thought it would, but it's still manageable. One thing I will say is if you leave it on, you will have paper in your weft when you sew it, so that was the main reason I didn't leave it on. It is a little tougher, but it's very manageable. Alright, so the final sewing step will be folding over the weft onto itself and doing a final stitch to really secure everything. That first straight stitch we made will be the fold point, and the 2 stitches that we made using the zigzag stitch will be folded onto each other and then stitched over. That really secures the weft and makes it a lot more secured. I do also recommend y'all start the weft a little bit into the weft when you start sewing, if that makes sense. Don't start right off the end, because you need a little piece to like help you pull the weft as you're sewing it. Otherwise your feed dogs on your machine may have a little bit of a hard time pulling it through, and you may just like run stitches in one spot. So having that little piece or that extra like string, at least like make sure to add it maybe when you're sewing it, will really help you pull the weft through and make things a lot quicker and easier for you. So just a little tip. . Alright, so we're all done sewing, and now all we have to do is check if the weft has any long strands that we need to cut, or brush it out just to see how it looks. Also check the actual weft itself, like the root. Make sure it's fine. If there's some hair like being folded over, you could just pull it out and adjust it nicely, and you'll be fine. So once you brush it out, you may notice that some hairs are longer than others, and it's fine, it happens. And all you need to do is just trim it. So, and once it's all fixed up, it's all ready to use, and we're all set. We're all done. Honestly, I'm really proud of how it turned out. It's my first time ever making it, and like probably the third time I've mentioned this, but I'm like pretty surprised. It was super quick, like 30 minutes, and the outcome is worth it. It's a great way to save any hair fibers that you have left over from long wefts that you trimmed maybe, or any hair fibers that you bought as hair fibers. It's a great method. So if it helped you in any way, please sound off in the comments. Let me know how it helped, any ideas you may have, and please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you guys so much. Bye. Take care.